Alright you guys, so let's go ahead and start with our first video today on the order of operations. Might be something you guys have learned before in a pre-algebra or algebra 1 course in junior high maybe, but we're going to review it just so that we can make sure we're all on the same page as we get into our course together here for the year. And here we go. So order of operations. I'm going to give you guys 6 letters maybe to help you remember what these order of operations might be. So the first one I'm going to give you guys is a P. You can get it to right. There we go. A P. I'm going to give you an E, an M, a D, an A, and an S. And we have our PEMDAS. Okay? And so if you guys can remember, the P is going to be for parentheses. Okay? Oops, let's get that T written there. Okay. Our E is going to be for exponents. Our M is for multiplication. Our D is for division. A for addition. And what's the last one we're missing here for S? Subtraction. Okay. And so these are our order of operations, and basically what they're used for is they're used for helping us figure out a method or some concrete steps for being able to solve those long, lengthy, maybe algebra problems or simplifying some algebra expressions. And so it gives us a kind of a little guide on how to do that. Okay, so it's just a step-by-step way to solve these problems or simplify expressions. Okay, so the first one, parentheses, we want to go through each problem and look for some parentheses to see if there are any in there. And parentheses can also include brackets, which are the more square looking ones, or our regular parentheses that we always see just like that. Okay, exponents, just for review, are the little numbers that are maybe in the corner of a bigger number. So maybe we see something like this, like 4, and then we have a little 2 up there. This would be an exponent. So we would go 4 squared, or 4 times 4. That's how we would read that. Okay, or maybe we might have 3 to the 4th. So just these little numbers up here are exponents. Okay, and that's our second step. We put a little number 2 here so that we don't forget. Okay. Next thing we want to remember is multiplying and dividing, and they go together. Okay, so I'm going to put a little connector here so that we know that those guys kind of go together when we're looking to see how to simplify or solve some of the things we're going to be looking at. And when we're looking for them, you want to remember to read from left to right. Okay, so just like how we read normal books or stuff on the internet or magazines or whatnot, read from left side to right side and solve multiplication and division stuff from the left side to the right side. Okay, multiplication could come in the form of maybe just a little dot. Sometimes they might use a little X. Okay, division, they might use a little fraction bar. Okay, so maybe something like that, and that was this bar right here would symbolize division, or this guy that we might have seen before when we were younger. Okay, the last ones that we want to look for also get grouped together, addition and subtraction. Okay, so after we've looked for all the parentheses, all the exponents, if there's anything to multiply or divide, we want to see if we can add or subtract anything, so we save them for last. And we also solve them from left to right. Okay, so adding, we use the plus symbol. Subtraction, we use the minus symbol. Okay, so I know this is kind of a lot of information right now, and maybe it'll be a little more easier once we apply it to a problem. So I'll give you guys some time to go and write these down, take some notes, put them in your notebook, and we'll work on a problem. Alright, so let's just go ahead and jump into some sample problems here so that you guys can see how these order of operations really work in problems, okay? And so again, just use them, go step by step, check first if there's any parentheses, are there any exponents, anything to multiply or divide, or anything to add or subtract in that order. It has to be in that order, okay? So my directions for this set of sample problems is to simplify, and so here we go. So the first problem I'm going to give you guys is 6 times 3 in a parentheses plus 5. Okay, so going through our PEMDAS, do we have anything that's a parenthesis? Do we see anything with a parenthesis? Hopefully we do right here. Okay, so that tells us we want to work inside there first. So 6 times 3 is going to give us 18. Okay. And once we simplify that, we can take out that parenthesis, or you can put it in, it's up to you. Let's just leave it in there for now, okay? And then we still have that plus 5 there. All this is telling me now is to go through and see, do we have anything with an exponent now? No. Anything to multiply or divide? No. We do have something to add or subtract here, okay? So after I've checked if there's exponents, if I can answer no, I can move on to the next step. If I can answer no to anything that has to be multiplied or divided, then I can move on to the next step, which is adding or subtracting, and I see that right here, okay? So essentially what I have is I'm to have 18 plus 5, and if I add those guys up, I get 23. Okay, and there we go. Let's try another one. Let's say I had something that looks like this. Okay, so this one's a little more, has a little more in there. And so let's go through our checklist here. So do we see anything that has parentheses? We do, it's right in here. And I threw in these symbols here, these square ones, just to remind you that there's brackets, and that if we have brackets, they go first before the parentheses, okay? Or you can count them as parentheses. So here we go. We have 2 squared plus 1 inside the parentheses. So what I have is I have this, okay? 2 squared is going to give me 4 plus 1, okay? Then I still have my 1 times 3 out here, okay? Still simplifying in there. I am going to end up getting 5, okay? So I still have my parentheses. I took care, looking at this now, I taken care of the exponents too, because the exponent was inside the parenthesis. And what I also have now is I'm checking now to see if I have anything to multiply or divide. So looking at this, do you guys see anything? Possibly 2 things right here, okay? So I didn't talk about this earlier, but sometimes if you don't have the dot or the little x to multiply, if you just have 2 things that are next to each other like this with no plus or no minus in between, that also means to multiply, okay? So I have 2 things to multiply. I have a 4 times 5, and I have a negative 1 times 3 here. So starting from left to right, the 4 times 5 goes first, because remember we have to go left, going over towards this way to the right. So 4 times 5 is going to give me 20. Okay, and then I have a 1 times 3 is going to give me negative 3. And then finally I get to add or subtract. In this case, subtract. And 20 minus 3 is going to give me 17. Okay, so there we go. Alright, you guys, so let's work on another example. And again, to simplify, let's just go through the steps: parentheses, exponents, multiplication or divide, and then addition and subtraction. So starting here, we see, do we have anything to parentheses or brackets? You see that right here? Okay, so we're gonna focus on this area first. Okay, so let's work inside this parenthesis. So the 5 minus 3 is gonna give us 2. Okay, so I'm just kind of rewriting all of this stuff here. The stuff that we don't need, I'm just recopying it into here. And then let's finish out what we have in the bracket here. So we have 2 times 2, which is going to give us 4. Okay. And do we have any exponents here? Nothing with exponents, so I'm going to move on to multiplying and dividing. And just remember, when we multiply and divide, we're going to go from left to right, so we can't just divide wherever we feel like it. There is a method for doing it, and you have to do it from left to right. Okay, so going from left to right, we have a 6 times 4 that we encounter first. So let's go ahead and finish that off if my pen can have some ink there. Okay. Going again from left to right, I see a 24 divided by 4, and so that's going to take precedence over working on this 4 plus 10 because the division is higher, okay, higher ranked. So 24 divided by 4 is 6 plus 10. Nothing to multiply or divide anymore, so now I can finally add or subtract. In this case, add. And so there we go. Final answer is 16. Okay. Take a few seconds to catch up, write that down, figure out what it is. Remember, if you guys have any questions, just save them, write them down maybe in the margin of your notebook, and we can definitely go over any of these that you might need help with tomorrow in class. Okay, let's go ahead and try another one, but I'm going to let you guys work on this one by yourself without me kind of prompting you on what to do next. So this will be our 4th example for you to try by yourself. And what I want to do is I want to do 18 minus 52 divided by 7 plus 6, just like that. Okay? And so, go ahead and take a few seconds to try and work this one out first. In order: parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. Okay. Always working from left to right. So I'm going to just work this out here, just so when you're done practicing on your own, you can check and see how you did. Oops. What am I doing here? There we go. So there we go with the final answer of 14. Okay, so hopefully you guys got there, going step by step. I saw a parenthesis here, or a bracket, and within the bracket there's a parenthesis, so I worked inside the bracket first, specifically in here first. 7 plus 6 gave me 13, okay, and I brought the 52 and the division down. Still working inside this bracket, 52 divided by 13 is going to give me 4. Just brought the 18 and the minus down all the way. So since I have a minus sign separating these two, the 18 and the 4, I can just remove the brackets because I know that's going to tell me it's not a multiplication. So when it's a subtraction or an addition sign, you can just remove the bracket or the parentheses, and it simply becomes 18 minus 4 And 18 minus 4 is 14, and that's how we arrive at our final answer.